Okay, so today we are taking notes on solving linear equations, or these are going to be one-step equations. So we're going to start off with our vocabulary, and the first thing is it's called a coefficient. And a coefficient is the numerical factor of a term that contains a variable. So this right here, we've got a 3x. This is not 3 times. This means 3x. This is a variable, okay? So the 3 that is being multiplied by the x, so this is 3 times whatever this amount is, the 3 is called a coefficient. Okay, so this is called a coefficient. Now, I'm not expecting you to do as fancy of notes as I have. If you just want to draw an arrow with a 3 and an x and not make it all 3D, that's completely fine. So that's called a coefficient. And then the next thing is a factor. So a factor is the number being multiplied with the variable. So this could be a 3p, a 3m, a 3n, a 3t, a 3z, a 3q, a 3h. It doesn't matter what the letter is. The 3 is the coefficient, okay, and the number being multiplied with the variable. So this is a factor. So a factor, okay. So it's called a coefficient and it is a factor. So a term is a single number or variable, or numbers and variables being multiplied together, separated by operation signs such as multiplication, division, subtraction, and addition. Okay, so if you're not finished, which I imagine you are not, go ahead and pause the video, and then when you're ready, go ahead and push play, and you can continue with your notes. Okay. So the next part of this is with our one-step equations. So addition and subtraction, in order to solve an addition and a subtraction equation, you are going to multiply, divide. So remember we talked before about how we have sister operations. Okay, so addition and multiplication go together, subtraction and division go together. So if you add or subtract the same number to each side of an equation, the two sides will remain equal. Okay, multiplication and division are partners as well. So it says what you do to one side of the equation, you must do to the other. And again, you don't have to draw by fancy stick guy. So again, I'm imagining you're not ready. You can go ahead and pause this and push play when you're ready. So here are our examples. Now remember, these x's are not multiplication. These x's are now variables. They're an unknown amount and we need to solve for them. So our first problem is x plus 5 equals 3. So this line that I drew down here, you don't have to do, but I like to do because it separates the two sides of the equation. We're not going to touch the variable. We're going to move what's next to the variable. Now if this is a plus 5, that means you're going to subtract 5 in order to cancel it out. Okay? But what we do to one side, you must do to the other side. So if I subtract 5 from this side, I have to subtract 5 from this side of the equal sign. So these 5s are going to cancel out here because a positive 5 minus 5 is nothing. And then 3 minus 5 gives me a negative 2, and I bring down the x. So my x is equal to negative 2. Now you can double check your work to know that it's correct, because you can plug negative 2 back in for x and see if it makes sense. So if negative 2 plus 5 gives me an answer of positive 3, then I know I'm right. So over here we've got x minus 5 equals 6. So this is a minus 5. I'm going to do the opposite, and I'm going to add 5 to both sides. Negative 5 plus 5 cancels out because it becomes nothing. 6 plus 5 gives me 11. So my x equals 11, and I can test this because I can plug 11 back in for my x and see if it's true. 11 minus 5 does equal 6, so I know that that's correct. If you're not finished, go ahead and pause, and then you can play when you are ready. Okay. So now we're going to practice one that has division. So division now will look like a fraction, okay? So this is the original problem right here. 150 times h equals 675. So the opposite of multiplication is division. So you want to do the opposite of what's currently happening. And what's currently happening is 150 times h equals 675. So the opposite of multiplication is division. So I'm going to divide both sides of my equation by 150. 150 divided by 150 cancels out on this side. So I'm just left with h. And then use a calculator, please. 675 divided by 150 gives me 4.5. So h ends up equaling 4.5. Again, you can check to see that you're correct. You can do 150 and multiply it by 4.5, and you should get 675. So really with these, there's no excuse to get a single one wrong, because you can always check your answer to see if it made sense. And if it didn't, you did something wrong. You just need to figure out what. All right, so let's say, so this one originally looks like this. A divided by -3 equals -7. So this stuff is not originally here. It just is A divided by -3 equals -7. Please make sure, because it's hard to tell, that you note that this is a -3. So A divided by -3 equals -7. So this is division. So what's the opposite of division? Multiplication. So you need to divide both sides by -3. That's going to cross these out. Now, a lot of times people have said, but wait, that doesn't make sense because -3 times -3 is a +9. But you have to remember something. This means -3 over 1. So this would end up being -3 over -3. And a -3 divided by a -3 gives you 1. So that's why it cancels out. Okay? And then over on, so you're left with A. And then over on this side, -7 times -3 gives me a +21. Same sign, positive answer. I can plug 21 into here, so this would be 21 divided by a -3, and I would in fact get a -7. So make sure that you have all of these notes written down, okay? And then I'm going to give you 4 problems I want you to try, and you have to show your work, just like we did here. So the first one I want you to try, and you're going to do these right in your notes. The first one I want you to try is m plus 3 equals -10. The second one I want you to try is p minus 3 equals -20. The next one I want you to try is 25 times k equals 675. And the last one I want you to do is b divided by 2 equals -16. Okay, so you're going to show your work. This was like the first example we did, the second example, the third example, and the fourth example. So show your steps of what you're doing. Again, you might want to put that little what I call a brick wall down. Sometimes that makes it easier. You don't have to do that. But again, I always do it. I've always done it since I was in school. And it's always made things a little bit easier for me. So you don't have to do it, but you can. And then your goal is to, in the end, have M equals and an amount, K equals and an amount, P equals and an amount, and B equals and an amount. But you have to show this work as well, okay? All right, so do those in your notes. Take a picture of all pages of your notes. A lot of you, when it comes to these note days, do not take or do not submit pictures of all your notes. So in my notebook in particular, this took 1, 2, 3 pages. So I would take 3 pictures and I would make sure I submit every single picture. All right. Okay, if you need to go back and watch again, you can do that as many times as you need to. If you have questions, feel free to go ahead and drop me a message and I will help you out. Thank you guys so much and have a great day. Bye.